Okay, let's hope I'm in the right live tonight. Because last night it started off on a different live, and I don't know why. My eye's a little better, just a little bit right now, so it's getting better. Let me make sure that I can hear myself. Because last night it started off. Okay. It looks like I'm in the right live. Let me just check my title. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we'll wait for a few seconds for this to go live and get our notifications out. I know that with posting shorts a lot of the day, YouTube just stops then notifications. Hello, White Angel. What was I gonna say? So today, oh my gosh, it's just worn out today. Yesterday I didn't realize even how much we did. And hi, Amanda Sue. But Gia was sore too today, so that didn't make me feel that bad. Is my hair sticking out over here? And so, been like just relaxing today a lot. Hi, Nora. And I think, plus we have our grand dog here for a week. Hi, Gail. And my kids, Gia, Michael, and Alexandra, all flying out very early this morning. Yeah. And going to Caribbean country for a week. So, you know, I hope that their flight is good and everything. And then Ethan's still in the city, and then he'll be coming home here in a couple of days. So, let's see, what else? Extra dog in the house. What else do I have extra? What? Trying to think. My daughter and Lorenzo went and did some stuff today, and then then she had to go home and get ready. And yeah, I have a lot, Nora. The only way you'll ever see it in my cousin's. I can't wait to get his. He told me that when he gets everything back, he makes unbelievable videos, and he told me he's going to send them to me. So you'll see them. Really good videos. He just took an amazing video of this hotel in New York City that he was at right in front of the Empire State Building. And the reason, and he went to this particular hotel is because it's the first hotel that my grandfather worked at when he came into New York City, and as a young man from Italy. And it was once called a different hotel name, but he worked in the restaurant there and became the maitre d' and was very well known there. And so the thing is, with my grandfather, he became very successful in the stock market because all of the Wall Street guys that would come in for lunch loved my grandfather. They would give him stock tips, and my grandfather got into investing, and that's what my grandfather ended up doing. So it's very interesting. But anyway, he went to this same hotel, and this video that he made is just, it's incredible the way he did it. And then he sent me the card from my grandfather that shows that when he got here, that's where he was working when he first got here. So he's amazing. Anyway, I'll be posting a lot of his stuff too. He's like, I've shown like Linda some of his stuff in Slack, and I think I've shown Jen Grill, and he just makes amazing videos. So anyway, I was going to go over a little bit of again what Bryan Kohberger's sister said, because I wasn't labeled in the video that I did last night. It was just kind of thrown in there, so I was going to go through that. Plus, there is a Tennessee New Year's Eve massacre where a mother ended up killing her 2 sons and a grandmother. New Year's Eve, okay? And then we're going to talk about this Florida USPS driver who intentionally tried to hit a 10-year-old. So, yeah. The craziness that's there. And what else? And we'll see, you're going to be on a huge Rambler catch-up. Okay, let's see. Let's go. Let me grab the. Let's talk about this Florida USPS driver. That's the United States Postal Service. Okay. Here he is. I'm going to put up his mugshot over here. Come on there, buddy. What the freak?
In Escambia County, Florida, a postal carrier accused of trying to hit a 10-year-old with his USPS vehicle, and that's according to state troopers. Tonight, William White facing charges including aggravated assault.
Okay,
FHP...
why is this doing this to me here? Okay, let's try this again, okay? No idea. Let's see if our computer's going to work right this time. Okay, let's do it this way. Now we'll try to get up his mugshot. Craziness. Escambia County. My friend lives in Escambia County. Okay. Here we go. And Mama needs her glasses here. So this up here is William White. He's 41 years old. He's been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon being his mail truck, petty theft, and criminal mischief. He is accused of trying to intentionally hit a 10-year-old boy with the USPS mail truck after delivering a package to the incorrect address. The boy was trying to bring the package to the correct address after it was mistakenly delivered to his house. And this William White, the driver of the mail truck, thought that little 10-year-old boy was stealing the package, so he tried to hit him with the truck. Let me see. The boy, whose family owns that residence, saw the package was meant for a different address. 10-year-old boy grabbed the package, put it on his electric scooter so he could take it to the correct address. White saw the boy with the package and thought he was stealing it. He then purposely drove the USPS vehicle towards the child and ran over the scooter. The child was able to get into the nearby yard prior to being hit. Florida Highway Patrol said White then grabbed the scooter from underneath the USPS vehicle and placed it on the truck, driving off after yelling at the child. He then allegedly drove his USPS vehicle toward the boy, running over his scooter after he made it into the nearby yard. Okay, whoever wrote this, and this is, excuse me, I need a tissue for a second. Hold on. Okay. Makes no sense, okay? They put that in twice. Okay, that is That source would be People Magazine would be crazy. Okay, so he got away from that scooter before the man hit it, and the scooter went under the truck. He then took the scooter, put it in his truck. U.S. Postal Service made a statement saying that they take the safety and well-being of their customers and employees seriously. The Postal Inspection Service, the law enforcement arm of the Postal Service, is actively investigating this issue in partnership with local law enforcement, and they can confirm that the individual has been employed since 2025, and it will not publicly comment on personnel matters. Now, the man was booked into the Escambia County Jail, and it shows that he's out on $5,500 bond. So while they say he hit the scooter and he put the scooter, you know what? They don't mention the package anymore. Okay, I want to tell you that there are two. This is crazy. Oh, hold on. Yeah, listen to this. I knew there was something else. So he's driving away with the scooter, but a relative of the boys follows the truck to confront him, and he takes the scooter and he throws it into another yard. And then he was interviewed and arrested on December 31st when he arrived at work. Now, the thing that's not mentioned is the package. What happened to the package? It's not mentioned. Isn't that crazy? The whole thing is crazy. And it's a good thing that that little boy wasn't hit, because the way that scooter ended up under that truck, that little boy would have most likely ended up under that truck. So, good for him for being alert and getting off of the scooter and into a safe place. But, wow, that's scary. Really scary. Okay. And the next thing we're going to look at here is this Tennessee. New Year's Eve murder-suicide. That took the lives of 4 people. So we got it here. So the mother allegedly killed her 2 sons, grandmother, and herself. 32-year-old woman in Tennessee shot 3 family members and then took her own life. Heather Thompson of Tennessee was among the 4 people found dead of gunshot wounds in their Waverly home on January 2nd, when the Humphrey County Sheriff's Office conducted a welfare check. The other victims were identified as Arias Thompson, 4, Isaiah Johnson, 13, and Evelyn Johnson, 88. The sheriff, Chris Davis, said the investigation suggests that Heather killed the 3 victims before taking her own life. The boys were Heather's sons. Evelyn was her grandmother. They were longtime residents in Humphreys County. Okay, so investigators do not believe the bodies were in the home for an extended period of time before being discovered. And Heather was estranged from her son's fathers. Investigators reportedly found no history of domestic violence or mental health related calls. Sheriff's Office confirmed the incident on a January 2nd Facebook post from Humphrey County Sheriff's Office, and that is right here. Let me see here. I'm looking at this. It says, Death Investigation, Humphreys County Sheriff's Office, with the assistance of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, are currently conducting a death investigation on East Little Richland Road in the Waverly area. Will be on scene for an undetermined amount of time. Please avoid the area as it is congested, and we do not have any active threats to our area related to this case. And then, very sadly, it looks like the father, so I guess he's the father of both of the boys. He says, I miss my sons already. Daddy still loves you. Sorry I was at work. And then somebody calls out to the father in here and says, this is her sister. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to reach out to you on Messenger. Not sure if it's going through. Please contact me. I'm confused, though, because let me just see something here. This man right here. Yeah, he put on his Facebook, hello, everyone. Today has been a day. This morning I got a call that I don't wish on any other parent. As a father, it hurt and shattered my soul to hear my sons, Arias, Ari, and Isaiah, have been taken from me and are no longer with us. They were just babies. Every second of today, I wish I could just wake up. The funeral services haven't been arranged yet, but I plan on bringing my sons back to New Mexico from Tennessee. So I'm asking for assistance. Anything helps, brings my son closer to home and me. Thank you. Please share my post. Just trying to make sure this is really the father. You know, it's sad when you've got to be that skeptical because he's posting a GoFundMe. And I just really, really, really hope it's not anything. Do you know what I mean? We have to be so skeptical in what we do. And I'm just looking if there's any other post with his children. And I don't see any post. He does. I don't know. Let me just see if anybody has said anything. You know, because it's not like... Let me go back here. One, two, he does. July 23rd. Something strange here, I'm so sorry. How come it's showing he has two little girls in his profile picture? And I really hope this is not somebody trying to profit off of this. Why wouldn't the sister know how... I'm a little confused because... Hold on a second. The boys... The 4-year-old, his last name is Thompson. The 13-year-old's last name is Johnson. This guy on Facebook is Thompson. And yes, he definitely looks like he could be the father of the 4-year-old, but I would say definitely not the biological father of the 13-year-old. And let me see this GoFundMe. Something just is off for me a little bit. Yeah. The GoFundMe says, hello, everyone. I'm reaching out for donations to bring my boys back home to New Mexico from Tennessee. Anything helps. And he's raised over $13,000 of a $16,000 goal. But that is the only thing he has posted. Bring my boys back home to New Mexico. That's all he has posted. And, you know, I just hope it's not anything. What kind of comments are here? I just don't understand why. It's just odd to me that, okay. Well, I hope it's the real, you know, he's really the father and not someone doing this. And I'm sorry that he's the father, because I wouldn't want that to happen to anyone. I don't, you know, but it's strange that this woman says she's the sister and she's trying to reach out, and she's in Ohio, and then okay, hold on. Something's wrong. This woman that was said, I'm the sister, it looks like she had posted something and said, please, anything helps, please, anything helps. And it's been either taken down or, I don't know. I am so confused. But she did post the news article. I hate to even post this. I'm so lost and confused. She's in Ohio, though. And then she's got a big post. Hey, I'm reaching out to Heather Thompson. Heather Thompson is this woman right here that is allegedly the person that took everyone's life and then her own. Close friend or BFF. This is her sister or family in the nearby area. Please contact me ASAP. That was 2 days ago. Okay. Where did I? Okay, so this looks like, yeah, maybe this is her, but then why are there two things that the content is not available anymore and it says, please, anything helps? I'm confused. Okay, let me go back here. Yeah. So in that Humphreys County Sheriff's Office post, that man that says he's the father posted there, I miss my sons already. Daddy still loves you. Sorry, I was at work. Then this woman comes in there and tags him and says, this is her sister. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to reach out to you on Messenger. Not sure if it's going through. Please contact me. I don't know. So I'm not sure. But we've seen it. We're just, it is like sometimes it feels like the things, we can't help our minds thinking it's because we've seen so much. Okay, so I'm not sure if he is or it isn't, but it looks like she is the sister. But I don't know, her posts have been, they're not there anymore, so I don't know if, okay, let me see. Let's go now. Let me just go to the, trying to get back to you guys for a second.
Yeah, let's hope I'm in the right line tonight.
Let me shut this. Okay. Hello, Sassy Darcy. I don't know what's wrong with everyone, Nora. Hi, it's Bank. How are you? Okay, and I thought maybe I was going to have an auction to make up for Saturdays today. I was so out of it today. There was zero way that I was going to be able to do that. So, I don't know. We have to get back into our routine, but it's hard. That's good, Bink. And I'm going to tell you about Bryan Kohberger's sister now. Okay. That's Mel Kohberger, and she gave an interview to the New York Times. She's broken her silence. None of the family has said anything to this point. Now, this is the sister that was in that, I don't know if it was a movie or it was like a video series. Remember that slasher kind of, I don't know if it was something with some kind of a drama program or whatever she was in. You guys must remember. Okay, so she said that she's always been a person who has spoken up for what was right. She said she knew her brother was socially awkward, at times could be abrasive, but she never thought he was capable of those murders. And she said that if she had ever a reason to believe her brother did anything, she would have turned him in. She even said that in the days that followed the Idaho University murders, she warned her brother to be careful when he went out and about alone, saying, and I quote, "Bryan, you are running outside, and this psycho killer is on the loose." She said that his arrest came as such a surprise, she initially wondered if it could have been a prank. She noted that her family had been so proud of him and the progress that he'd made in recent years, that he was a PhD student and he had overcome major drug addiction. She said that the whole thing, her brother being arrested and all that came afterwards, has had a genuine impact on her professional life. She was in the process of training to be a mental health counselor. She ended up leaving that position because her employer reportedly received an influx of inquiries about the murder and her brother's role. There was an unknown author that also allegedly attempted to impersonate Melissa J. Kohberger to write a book about the murders, and that caused Mel to ponder the drawbacks to being a fan of true crime and the culture that comes with it. And she said, and I quote, "It's human nature to be curious about darker things. That's how we keep ourselves safe. But I think we should try and come together for a true crime culture that is way more protective and empathetic to the families of the victims." Let's see here. I know she said something about that film. Hold on, let me grab that. She said that, trying to get where she said about that slasher thing she was in. Okay, here we go. So Mel described Bryan as socially awkward, occasionally abrasive, and prone to arguments with her, but said she never saw him be violent. And she even told of an instance where he held her hands back to de-escalate a fight between them. She said that their parents, Marianne and Michael, taught herself, Bryan, and their sister Amanda to be loyal, self-reliant, and put others' needs ahead of their own. It's weird that I before had this thing about this film of hers. And hang on one second, because Now it's looking like, and I feel like I've imagined this, and I know I didn't. Here's some more. He apparently engaged in party games with his family. He enjoyed vegan cookies baked especially for him by their mom. She even said that Bryan recoiled at the sight of blood when she cut herself on foil one time. "5 days after Christmas, FBI officers crashed into their home and arrested Kohberger. Mel who had left their parents' home, was told by her sister Amanda. She was like, I'm with the FBI. Bryan's been arrested. I was like, for what? It's interesting now that I am not seeing that thing about that film of hers. Hold on a minute. See, because somebody must have had it wrong, because it was Amanda that was in the film. And whoever had it reported last night, they must have scrubbed that article clear of that. And I thought something sounded weird, but let me see here now. So 2011. Amanda Kohberger. Starred in a gory, low-budget slasher movie where the characters are brutally stabbed, slashed, and hacked. Hold on. It looks like... One second. So, they must have... Yeah, it looks like it was the other sister that was in that, but somebody reported it was her last night. One of these... Let's see here. She also told about how her brother faced incessant bullying in his teens for being overweight and antisocial. She said that he once referred to himself as an organic sack of meat with no self-worth, and he had no emotion and little remorse in a chilling series of online posts. Family was dogged by online accusations that they had been aware of the murders, but had covered for Bryan, and she said that is not true. She's always been a person who has spoken up for what's right, and if she had any reason to believe he did it, she would have turned him in. Okay, so they must have taken that slasher thing out because it's looking like that was the other sister. Okay, so just go to this one other thing here. So weird though, because I get scared when something just gets scrubbed from the internet like that. That freaks me out. They're saying she looks like him. I don't think she looks like him. I really don't. Okay, let's see here. Let's see what's over here about this, and then we'll if there's anything else that we didn't share here. She really didn't say all that much, right? She said that they were clueless that he was going to be arrested. She's always been a person that stands up for does what's right. If she knew, she would have turned him in. What else did she say? He was socially awkward. They were proud of him. He liked family games and vegan cookies that his mother made for him. What else did she say? Not too much else, right? So it's like that she had to leave her job because of the influx of inquiries into what's going on with her, right? And what's going on with her brother. And that she warned him to be careful. There was a psycho on the loose. Okay. Okay, now let me get to chat with you guys. Chat. Hi, little lady. How are you? Hi, Jen girl. How are you? Okay, let's see. Hi, Super Chat Cat. So really, I mean, what did we really get out of that interview? Did you guys get a lot out of that interview? There really isn't a lot. You think she looks like Kohberger? I don't see it. I do not see, when I look at her in that picture, I do not see Bryan Kohberger. If you didn't tell me who that was, I would have no idea that was anybody related to Bryan Kohberger. But that's why we all see different things. So anyway, let's see. That's that. Let's see what else is going on. No, not a lot said. Not too much, huh? Okay, now let's see something else. Okay. Now I'm wondering if she got paid for this article, because there was talk of the family getting paid 6 figures for some interview back in July. I'm trying to see here. Hang on one second. There were tabloid cameras stationed outside their home, snapping images of her father cleaning up the damage from the police raid. She said that online sleuths scrutinized footage of Amanda's acting in a 2011 horror film that had also involved stabbings. Okay, that's the other sister. And Mel, the sister here, said she was angered by internet posts from people who speculated whether her family had known all along that Bryan Kohberger, was the killer. And while the family still does not want to discuss the crime itself, the sister agreed to share part of their story, saying she hoped she could bring out the truth about her family and what it's been like to be dragged into the epicenter of a true crime epic. She said, family members of high-profile criminals have long struggled to navigate the collateral infamy thrust upon them. The Kohbergers found themselves not just interrogated by detectives, but they were the subject of the scrutiny of an assortment of amateur sleuths, part of a true crime fervor that has brought millions of people together in Facebook groups, Reddit forums, and YouTube channels. When her brother was arrested, she'd been training to start a job as a mental health counselor. We heard this. Her employer was so inundated with inquiries, she had to abandon that. And then she talks about that book written by a Melissa J. Kohberger, suggesting that someone was trying to make money by selling a false version of her story. She said he grew up in the Poconos in a home centered on family, with readings of books like Little House on the Prairie and lessons rooted in their mother's Catholic upbringing. She said that she and her brother and sister had been instilled with values of loyalty, self-reliance, putting others' needs ahead of their own. And she has some of her fondest childhood memories were the nights that her parents ordered takeout food, woke up the children, and put blankets out on the deck. And then they all looked up at the stars, talking about astronomy and the wonders of the world. If I'm not mistaken, there is like a big age difference between some of these kids, isn't there? Because his sister is the oldest. Amanda or something is 37. Kohberger, something's not matching up here. Okay, something's not matching up, sweetheart. How old? Let me see how old these kids are in relation to Bryan. Something's not. Hold on. Okay, Amanda Kohberger's 37, and this girl is 34. Bryan Kohberger's age is what? So 37, 34. Bryan Kohberger was born November of 94. Which is going to make him, what, 31? Okay, 31, 34, 37. Hold on a minute here. Okay, let me figure this out here right now. He's 31, she's 34, 37. So he's got a 6-year difference and a 3-year difference. So yeah, I think her and the sister, but let's just say they're doing this when Bryan's 6, 9, 12. That's probably around the ages that they're doing this. Which, let's say she's 18. I don't think they'd be waking her up, the oldest one. So, okay, it may be possible, but it sounds a little bit nutty. How early, if we know that restaurants probably, if they had takeout food, wouldn't be doing that past 9 o'clock. So, what time did these kids go to bed that they're waking them up? And obviously it's probably the summer because they're living in an area like I am, and you're definitely not going out now putting blankets on your deck and looking up at the stars, okay? Because you'll freeze to death. So something sounds just a little bit maybe weird with that remembrance. Okay. So they looked up at the stars and they talked about astronomy and the wonders of the world. Friends described how Bryan had been overweight as a teenager and a standoffish personality, something the family now believes was related to autism. Now, his sister said that Bryan wrote online during those years of having no emotion, little remorse, and feeling as if he was an organic sack of meat with no self-worth, and said later he spiraled into heroin addiction. Once he stole his sister's phone and sold it at a mall to buy more drugs. Her parents alerted the police. They felt that he was on a path to an early death, and that happened to one of his friends. But after he went through treatment, He seemed to be on a better trajectory, and she and her brother both shared an interest in crimes and psychology. She was pursuing a career in mental health therapy. He began discussing a career in policing, going on to study psychology at DeSales University in Eastern Pennsylvania before getting accepted into the Washington State University PhD program in criminology, saying that they were all so proud of him because he had overcome so much, but he was still socially awkward, could be abrasive. Okay. He had a lack of a violent history. One of the reasons the family found it so disorienting to hear that he was accused of such a barbaric crime. In the days before the raid, she said the family gathered for Christmas, and she remembered being thrilled to see her brother back home in Pennsylvania, and she hugged him tightly. He was on a strict diet, and to abide by that, their mother had made him vegan cookies. They played TV party games. One night, the sister was cleaning up in the kitchen. A sharp edge on the foil caused her finger to bleed, and her brother initially expressed disgust at the sight of blood. But he helped clean the cut and cover it with a bandage. She says during the days he was home, he only briefly mentioned the Idaho murders, saying that investigators were still hunting for the killer. She says that her mom had been praying daily for the families of the victims, and that her mother has put the names of the victim and their birthdays into a digital calendar so she'll get reminders about them. No, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Not the mother. Her mother's been praying daily for them. But the sister put the names of the victims and their birth dates into her digital calendar so she will get reminders about them. During the holidays, she said her family has felt grief, that Bryan could not be with them, but then she would think of the victims' families and the pain they must be feeling. And she said, thinking of that idea is making her so emotional, she could barely speak about it in tears. Let's see. She said it would be hard for her brother to get a fair trial with all the attention, the wild speculation surrounding the case. And it seemed hurtful to the families and friends of the students who died, and she, once an avid true crime fan, she looks back on that with regret. It's human nature to be curious about darker things. And then she wants everyone to come together for a true crime culture that is way more protective and empathetic to the families of the victims. They try to support Bryan with regular calls to him. They avoid discussions about the details of the case. She says she's kept him posted about life back home. He sometimes talks about his latest interest in psychology, the Myers-Briggs personality assessment, and the bicameral mind, in which the two sides of ancient brains operated independently. For his birthday, he asked the family to make a cake that he thought his sister Amanda would like. He asked his sister Mel to blow out the candles. Through it all, they have to reconcile that the son and brother they loved and still do, and they have to reconcile him with the man depicted by prosecutors and the police. Let's see. When Bryan entered his guilty plea in July, his parents attended. His mother sobbed in the front row. Weeks later, when he was sentenced, I think it said Ms. Kohberger had hoped to attend. Ms. Kohberger could be any of them. That's not really too good. But stayed home to care for her father, so it's got to be the daughter. Why not just use a person's name? Ms. Kohberger could be either one of the sisters, Amanda or Mel. How about using a name? Okay. They watched the hearing on television. Okay, and that is it. Okay, anyway, now, let's see. Really quick here. There is hang on a minute. There's a new, I think this is what Binky was talking about, a new Jodi Hildebrandt documentary on Netflix called Evil Influencer, the Jodi Hildebrandt story. So that is, let's see, something new. Let's see what people are saying about it. Somebody said they watched it and they would highly recommend it. They said there was more footage from the police than the other documentaries. Let's see. It says you can hear the children's voices in this one. It was chilling. They interviewed her mission companion. Okay, let's see what here. Someone said they just finished all 1 hour and 42 minutes of things. She could already correct the officers and detectives on the case, but some of the things that she was happy that law enforcement agreed that they need to be locked up for a long time, and more specifically without bail. She wants to know why no one is investigating Pam Botcher. Perspective from the people they chose was actually interesting. Let's see. Is that we're not... I had no idea Jody had amassed a following of 500K. The last text box saying that it was up to the parole board and the state of Utah to do the right thing. Okay. I don't know. Let me see. So that is another documentary, I guess. Okay, stop. And what is this? Sherry isn't happy with some aspects of the new documentary. What is Sherry not happy with? She says, "This documentary has me pissed the F off. For real, for real." Okay, what has got her pissed off? Let's see. Hang on a sec. Someone said, "I'm not trying to be rude towards Sherry, but she literally talked about watching true crime in her book. I believe about a woman with a stalker. I don't think the documentary they did on Hulu was any different in terms of the topic evidence than this Netflix one." Someone said, "I completely agree. I feel for her because she's been through hell and back. But I just read the book 2 days ago, and she literally said she loved true crime and consumed it constantly up until Jody and Ruby were arrested. Then she was like 100% against it. I understand it was hard for her to become the subject of the true crime story, but at least acknowledge you also drank the Kool-Aid and felt differently when it happened to you in real life." Someone said she didn't need to watch it, especially if it's triggering. Does she not think that her book would be triggering for her family members? I felt she just doesn't like not being in control of the information. Someone said it probably doesn't feel new because 80% of it has already been done in the multiple other documentaries. The only new parts were the 2 former clients, Jody's mission companion and the woman that worked with Jody years before, and Natasha Helfer, the therapist. If you watched all the other documentaries out there, you can fast forward through most of this one. Someone said the way Reddit treats Sherry and her opinion, above all, is weird. It's like the overconnection of people talking about ethics of true crime. Like, Sherry is absolutely entitled to her opinion, and she can voice it however she wants, but everyone acting like they need or should have Sherry's clearance on everything to do with this case is weird. Like another commenter said, she wrote a whole book about it. The doc is not focused around Ruby or the Frankie family. It's about Jody. The Frankies are obviously going to be discussed in their overlap, but not just sensationalizing what happened to the Frankies' 2 youngest. It's quite effectively displays how Jody got more and more extreme, and look at how TF she was ever able to do that and get so many people on her side. It's a great piece of work to show just how dangerous she is and keep the pressure on her while she's up for parole soon. It's bigger than Sherry and the Frankies at that point. It's also about all the potential future victims were she to get out on parole because there's no public pressure anymore. Someone said, I unfortunately agree. She's also still involved in the church, and there's a lot to be said about how that played into the abuse. What was said in the doc is all factually accurate, though. Like, obviously, Ruby, pre-Jody, did shite. That's horrible for the children, but it's not legally prosecutable child abuse. The state is not going to take kids out of the family home for making them sleep on a beanbag. It's weird and probably cruel punishment, but not something bad enough in the eyes of the law. Obviously, no one said it wasn't abusive in the more general sense. Someone said, to be honest, I'm giving them all a bit of side eye. If privacy were truly the goal, a simple statement about stepping away from social media would have been enough. Instead, there's a documentary, wedding pictures, interviews, and a book. Kevin's wedding wasn't even part of the conversation until she introduced it on Instagram with a strange, defensive caption. I understand the desire to tell the story on their own terms, but in my view, that conversation could have waited until the youngest were at least adults, if not older. At this stage, everything still feels too emotionally charged for meaningful distance and clarity. Let's see. Someone said, going into detail is needed so that people know Jody and Ruby are monsters, and everything that documentary showed was already out. Sherry once mentioned that she didn't feel comfortable with reading Ruby's diary for obvious reasons. Yet everyone and their dog have read it and found out what the torture was like. I personally believe Sherry has a lot of trauma to heal from, and being exposed to it again and again is not healthy for her. But that's on her for watching it and engaging with it by commenting or being vocal every time her mother's case is brought up. Okay. So it looks like the only two things in the documentary are the two interviews, one with the therapist and one with her mission. What did they call her? Now someone just posted Chad, Frankie, it's my big 21st birthday party and they're having a Vegas trip. I don't even know what that is about. What is that? What the freak is that? She lives in a frat house with them? Chad Frankie is married and lives in a frat house? Okay. I don't know. I don't follow Chad Frankie. Okay, and apparently, as with, I guess as we've seen in every other case, Chris Watts' case, Summer Wells, Sebastian Rogers, every case, when the facts stop, when they've caught somebody, either that, like with Kohberger or Chris Watts, when they have the perpetrator and that person is in prison, certain channels can't stop, and so then they make up things, those fake insiders and all that kind of stuff that comes out, or they insist that someone else did it. They insist that all kinds of things just to have more content, because to them it's not about factual reporting, it's about making money, right? So they're not going to, they treat it like a television show. They can't end that series, they have to expand it. We've seen this. There are, believe it or not, still channels every day talking about Summer Wells. Well, what is new in the Summer Wells case? Nothing. Okay? Sebastian Rogers. What it is drama between people that doesn't do anything about finding these kids, but is just dragged on, and it is kept up for a reason. So now the Gonsalves family, Kaylee Gonsalves's parents, and I saw something tonight about these fingerprints in the Idaho. I'm like, what is going on now? You got to be kidding me. There's still people that are going to keep saying that Bryan Kohberger is innocent, right? And so now the Gonsalves family put up this is a Facebook post about this, and this is what they said. They said they recently looked at Kaylee's handprints and footprints that the medical examiner took. You know, as her mother, I don't know how much more I can take. A month ago, it was her fingernails and the knife sheath. Before that, it was crime scene pictures and videos. With the social media shitstorm going through every single document, and then people making up their own scenarios, it's disgusting. I wonder if it will ever end. People that actually think that BK is innocent or that he didn't act alone need to get their heads checked. Who does that sound like? Right? Sandra Rusick's been saying the same thing. She's told you multiple times, if anyone else was involved, don't you think that we asked them and turned over every stone? You think we're going to protect anyone that had any part in murdering our family? And yet, entire channels exist, and I'll tell you why it is, and I've told Sandy why it is, and it's the whole reason. And I'm sorry, and I know I've lost people because they cannot understand this. The whole witch hunt on Nicole Kessinger has something that's deeply rooted in a lot of hurt women who were done wrong. Their husbands, boyfriends cheated on them, and they've taken and they've bottled up all of this, okay, unresolved stuff in them, and they have put it into, we're going to get her, And it's not even about that. It's about what's in them. And you can see it. And certain creators absolutely know this. And that's why we saw, and there are a lot of male creators that do it, like that guy up in New York State that said they were going to get a billboard, right? Her arrest was imminent. He knew somebody in the DA's office. He had to come out and say that was a lie. I don't know. He's gone. He was in politics, but he's totally gone from YouTube as far as I know. But I called him out early on because he was a liar. He was a total liar. There was no imminent arrest. There was no freaking insider in the DA's office. And this guy went on there and people threw money at him and they thought he was going to put a billboard up. Frank Rusak even went into his chat, okay, to be like, what are you talking about? I can't remember the exact words about a billboard you're collecting money for. What are you talking about? You know, it's like, it's BS. There was no billboard. If you guys have been with me a long time, you remember when I spoke out against this guy. And I got a lot of freaking hate. Got a lot of freaking hate from the channels that try and keep it going. I get a lot of freaking hate from the women who are pissed at me that she didn't have anything to do with this. Not this part of it. And I will still stick to my guns, and I've still told Sandy, if things had turned out differently, I do believe she would have had a part in the aftermath. I do believe that. I still do. I don't think there's any reason that Jim came into town for just a few hours and left. I believe there was a reason. And that reason was going to be the cleanup. Getting rid of her car, getting rid of the car seats, but Chris never thought that anybody was going to intervene the way Nicole Atkinson did. Now, the other thing is that I believe he was thrown into a tizzy not having that code to get into her phone, because I think he would have put some kind of a message on there, like, I'm not feeling well, I want to rest today, okay, something to that effect. And I think he freaked when he couldn't get a passcode and go in there. Now, had he been, and it's a good thing he's not, but had he been a little smarter, he could have texted with his phone, as Shanann said that she dropped her phone in the toilet, it doesn't work, but she's tired, wants to rest. Thank goodness he's not crafty like that, right? So instead, he shut her phone off and he put it under the couch cushions. And then went to work and thought that he was going to have time to come home. So that didn't happen. So do I think she would have had something to do with the cleanup with that guy, Jim? Yeah, I do. But it didn't happen. So you can't prosecute somebody for something that didn't happen. And do I think she had anything to do with the murders? No, I don't. So he did act alone. More importantly, there's no way her family would accept that there's any kind of a cover-up, okay? No way. And I've told you that, and Sandy's told you that in this chat. So this is the kind of thing. I know I'm off on a tangent, but this is like what Mrs. Gonsalves is saying. And it's sad. She's saying it now. She's saying, what the hell is wrong with you people? Okay? Are you ever going to stop? And this is for now the Kohberger channels that have just raked in money and still talking about Bryan Kohberger. When people used to tell this to me, Elle used to tell this to me. Oh, I'm watching this channel about, I said, What do you mean? There's nothing happening, right? So the only thing happening is fake stuff. But people get invested in this. They don't want to let it go. And these creators don't have scruples or morals. And they will give these people what they want. And they know it. That guy Larry knew it. That guy Larry, what do you think? He thought he had somebody in the DA's office? He knew he didn't have anybody in the DA's office. He went on there lying to everyone, telling that her arrest was going to be imminent. We need a whatever kind of pay. I don't even remember what fundraiser he used, whether it was PayPal or it was just stuff coming in, but he promised them a billboard. Her arrest was imminent. Does anybody remember Larry? See, that's the scary thing. These people will do this kind of stuff and disappear, and then people won't even remember it. Okay? But he came out and tucked his tail between his legs and went away in a walk of shame and admitted to everybody there was never an insider in the DA's office. Everything he told them for weeks on end was nothing but a load of crap. And yet, when I called him out on it, he came after me like a pack of wolves. Okay? He came after me and a couple of other channels that they all latched on together to this story came at me and called me things. You guys remember this? And he wrote comments and stuff. It was ugly. It was ugly. And what was it? I was telling the truth again. Okay? There was nothing. He was full of crap. And any other channels that were in cahoots with him were full of crap. And there still are channels today pushing and pushing and pushing that narrative. Because why? It's money. They don't care about facts. They just care about money. They don't care about victims' families. They care about one thing, money. So this is the same thing. Mrs. Gonsalves is crying out for this to stop. And it's sad because as I read this and she asks, is it ever going to stop? Well, still going on with the Chris Watts case, right? So you think this is going to stop magically here? No, it's not. It's not unless people are brought accountable for spreading false information and for putting these narratives. It's a different thing. Case breaks, people trying to put the pieces together. Where does it go? But then when the pieces finally come together, especially when there's a trial, when there's all that stuff, it's done. If you want to talk about the facts of the case, talk about the facts. But then it's always like, oh, do we have the right person? Maybe he didn't act alone. Maybe she didn't act alone. We're going to keep this going for more seasons, as if it was a series. And it's not a series. So let's get back to this. And I'm sorry I'm not looking at the chat. But she says, it's disgusting. I wonder if it will ever end. People that actually think that BK is innocent or that he didn't act alone need to get their heads checked. Or better yet, the people saying that this never actually happened. Oh, how many times have we heard that one? How many times have you heard the whole Chris Watts case never happened? It's a psyops, right? Okay. They're doing it here too. History will keep repeating itself. So she says, or better yet, the people that are saying this never actually happened and that it was a social media experiment. How dare you get a brain of your own and quit letting other people think for you. Your favorite YouTuber or TikTok friends are making a living off of my daughter's murder. They don't want this to end anytime soon. They want to keep this going and keep stirring the pot. How are they going to pay their rent when they have nothing else to talk about when the money stops coming in? Exactly, because they can't move on. They can't talk about the facts of the case, okay? They have to move on, because if they talk about the facts of the case, right, that's going to come to an end. So you can talk about the facts of a case, but what is that going to be? One video for them, 2 videos, right? They have to make something go on a daily basis, and they're not secure enough that they can do this by covering other cases that are relevant, that are in the news, and no, they've got to stay on the same case. And that's your number one clue. If you have a channel, a TikTok channel, and they are constantly on a case, especially like Chris Watts' case, they're a case, like you would say, you couldn't even think of 7, 8 years covering this day, every day. You've got to know they're making stuff up. The discovery is 2,000 pages. But they go on. And they got, like, when those other channels were on here, I would say, what the hell are they covering? What are they covering? They're still covering it on other channels, on other platforms. What? There's nothing new. But it's like their sole content. And with Idaho, 4 murders. Bryan Kohberger did this. He's in prison. And yet, it's over and over and over. Like, say, okay, here's a sister come out with an article. Okay, sister came out with an article. You can talk about that a day, 2 days. Give them 3 days to talk about that article. But then it ends. Sister came out with the article. That's it. And then you got to move on to something else. But see, they don't. Now, and they won't even just talk about that article, because that would be like factual. Well, we don't know that everything she's saying is factual, but that article and what she said is factual, and we can talk about it. And true crime creators, or even the media like Dateline, and yeah, they'll talk about that. But then you've got the people that keep going back, and now I guess they're saying that they're doing something with fingerprints now to, I don't know what to do, or it's crazy. Okay. Anyway, let's see what people are saying here in response to the mother's post, okay? Let's see what they're saying in relation to this. Someone said the worst part is that they probably thought that once he pled guilty and was sentenced and went to prison, this all would stop. Unfortunately for them, it's probably gotten worse. They're trying to move on, and the world just won't let them. Now, and then the other thing is, when someone takes a plea deal, like Kohberger did and like Chris Watts did, then you have the people saying, oh, if there had only been a trial, all of these unanswered questions that we have would have been answered. So that's their thing. Then they try to either get a trial, or like they think that, okay, maybe they're in the fantasy that maybe there will be a trial, or what about that whole 35C with Chris Watts? It was BS. Okay. How many of the channels rode that bandwagon? Okay. So, see, this one says, or if it went to trial and he didn't take the coward way out of a guilty plea, there would be place. See, Here it goes. There wouldn't be place for speculation or theories. I'd want to hear it all if it was my family. He never gave, well, some of them did, but do you really think it would end if there was a trial? No. No. You know who had a trial? Scott Peterson. Is it still going on that Scott Peterson didn't do this? Yes. He had a trial. So it's a bunch of BS to say if there was a trial, there would be no speculation. That's a lie. Someone said, you are assuming he would have taken the stand and given them answers. Okay? So the families would be in this exact same place, except all that would have been published to the court in public, and there wouldn't be redacted photos and docs, but fully released photos and docs. Let's see. Someone said, when I saw the hand fingerprints, I honestly put out myself in that situation. I felt so sad. I really can't imagine a loved one's murder being so popular that it feels like it's everywhere, inescapable. Like, okay, so, yeah. So they show, like, everything. It's even things like, it has no bearing on anything, but just anything to just get out some more stuff, right? Somebody said many of them didn't even graduate high school and think the earth is flat, and that's the level we're dealing with. Someone said, someone sent me a link to a YouTube video of one of these morons going through the documents, and she'd stop every so often and explain or recap what she just read, and it was not even close to what she read. I remember she read the initial responding officer's report from the day of the crime, and he says specifically in the report that Ethan was laying in this supine position on the bed, and she stood and says, no joke, see, all of these people, I kept telling them they were wrong, and this proves that Ethan was laying on his stomach. Oh my gosh. It says it right here. Someone commented that he'd be prone if he was face down, not supine. And she said, yes, I heard that too, that he was prone to that. He always slept on his belly. Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you how many bugs crawled out of my mouth while I was sitting there watching that mess. I know it was gaping open. How could that not be the proper response? These people should be professional packers and movers the way they can force something to fit. I'm middle-aged and I've been around since before the internet existed. And this has been the biggest shite show I've ever seen since the birth of the internet, and there is no end in sight. And yeah, I would see that too, especially, let's say the Watts case, right? I see some YouTuber going on about something, and I'm like, everybody's going to say, no, you've got this all wrong, and this, and I'd look at the comments almost feeling like embarrassment, like feeling really embarrassed, like, oh boy, these comments are going to be off the charts. They're going to tell her, like, or him, you're totally wrong about that. And the people just bought the BS, and that's how I kept saying, it's just what they want. They want to believe something, and they will believe it. You tell it to them, they're not going to fact check, they're not going to question it. They want to believe it, so just give them whatever it is, make it fit, like she said, make it fit, and they'll believe it. And that's when I just couldn't believe it. Someone said, yeah, I saw one today that showed a woman sitting at a table with a big stack of documents in front of her. I bet I know who this is. scanning and flipping through each page, and on the screen she names the roommates and all the friends, accusing them of being involved and how she will get to the bottom of it. Yeah, they're all going to get to the bottom of it and solve the case for real, since the police department couldn't find the real killers. All while the song I'm Not Afraid by Eminem plays over the video. It's so dramatic and self-serving, it's almost comical. Does she really think she's relevant and important? She looks like a total moron. I hope she sees what the Gonzalez family posted and realize that they think she and all the others just like her are absolutely the lowest of the low, profiting off these poor kids and ripping the Band-Aid off every time a family comes across one of these jackasses. Pathetic. Well, see, the problem is, I don't think they're clueless, or that they even really think that he's not the real killer, but that they've got to keep this going. So they're going to find ways. Now, maybe there's some that think whatever way they're doing this, but I don't think so. I really think they know what the people that watch them want, and they know that to stop this, and they don't want other channels to continue about this, because then they're going to lose those people to those other channels, and it's not something they want. They want to keep on with this. It's easier. They don't have to learn about other cases. They don't have to go through other documents. They can keep on about this. So I don't think it's so much that they're morons or stupid or clueless. They are probably very shrewd individuals that know exactly what their audience wants. And they're going to keep it going. Let's see. And TikTok, I think, is the worst for people putting out information that's just crazy and fueling all of that. By constantly giving the YouTubers and TikTokers attention, people are achieving the ultimate goal of looking for attention. It goes without saying. It's not necessarily been the truth, but more about trying to appeal to two certain demographics who will just eat it all up and keep coming back for more. All serious followers of the case, know the truth was exposed a long time ago at this point. That's why when people would tell me, oh, I'm going to go listen on what are you going to listen on the Kohberger case? It's done and over. Like, there's nothing new. But they were telling me that it wasn't that they were, it wasn't even that they were going back and revisiting an older video. They were saying that new videos were being made, and they were going to go watch those new videos. About what? And then you have the people that go across here and they say this thing. Okay? And they've said it in the Watts case. You have a male creator that says he's just doing it to get justice, right? For Shanann and the kids. Insinuating that the Rusak family doesn't want justice. No. They want justice. Okay? And if anybody else was involved, they would not have stopped. Chris is the one that did this. He is in prison. Kohberger did this. He is in prison. But then somebody comes like this because, hey, wait, this person must be like, you are not stopping my show. You are not. Don't you dare. And they get very angry and they say, she needs to shut up, honestly. You want justice for your daughter or no? She the only one I see complaining every MFing time. See how nasty that is? First of all, they're going to say that she doesn't have justice. The right killer is not in prison, and that their YouTube and TikTok creator is going to really solve this case. That's the kind of people you're dealing with. Those are the consumers of this information. And I'm sorry to say, they can't even write, well, here, a grammatically correct sentence. Do you really expect that they're going to be checking facts, or they're just going to blindly believe what they're fed? That's the consumers. It's the way it is. And they'll justify it. And the other thing is, and which they're doing here, they'll go completely against the family. They'll start calling the family out. They'll start saying the most horrible things about the family in order to justify not having the reaction a normal person would have to that post, right? If some creator was making up information and keeping this going, hearing that grieving mother speak, most people with a moral compass who are making up information about that case to keep it going would feel remorse and stop. But others go and attack and say they're horrible. They don't care about justice. They don't care about it. And they'll go further and further and further, even accusing victims, families of, grift. It just goes on. It's just terrible. Terrible. And you can see it. You have one bunch of comments that say, this is terrible, this should stop. And then these other people that come on and say, it can't stop, justice has got to be done, this is crazy, who the hell do they think they are? And none of them are saying that they're against the facts of the case from what I see on this one, but I know Sandy's not against the facts of the case being discussed. It's against the conspiracy. And it's against the day after day after day after day conspiracy talk, or that someone's involved, or someone's this, that's the kind of stuff. But anyway, say someone says here, she gives BK too much credit. That's her first delusion. Someone says here, I just saw on my Facebook page, the first Morin that came to mind when I read it. She puts a name. She says the woman is insane and really needs to be committed. When the porch camera footage came out, she was playing it, and she'd stop it every so often and talk. And when it got to around 4 minutes and 17 seconds, which is believed by many to have been Zena yelling and the thump before the dog starts barking, she starts this fake crying BS, and it's the worst attempt of someone trying to sound like they're crying that I have ever heard. I've actually seen serial killers fake cry on true crime shows, and they do a better job, and most of them lack emotions. It gets better. She has her viewers convinced that she has had people threaten her life over the bombshell she has dropped in this case. Yes, she actually swears that she has threats being made against her life because she's getting too close to the truth. And she's been warned to back off. What the actual F? Who exactly is threatening her? Has BK addressed her personally? Because his bananas aren't up to his standards, or is it the head of the secret fight club located in the tunnels under her house? Maybe that's it. Whatever it is, it hurts my brain that this biatch and others like her are cashing in on this tragedy. And yeah, those are other ways. We're getting too close to the truth, right? If the family says, then they can use something the family does, like, and I'm not even saying, I'm just going to use like ABC family says, what Mrs. Gonsalves says, don't talk about it. And then the creator's going to say, don't feel sorry for ABC family. Don't feel sorry. That's meant. They're going to flip the switch and tell their people that the family is manipulating you because they're somehow in on this, and we're getting too close to the facts, and we've got to press on. So they've already got it built in. So if any of their viewers start saying, wait a minute, gosh, I can't go on and do this. The mother's, the family, ABC family, and I'm just using that, just a generic name for anything. I'm not just talking a specific family. This family, ABC family, is saying, please stop this, right? If any of their people start to say, well, why are we doing this? They've got that. They've already got it to come back and say, there's something wrong with ABC family. We're getting too close to it. No family would ever stop anyone from getting justice unless they had something to do with it or they're not right? So that's the whole thing. Those that see it and understand it know exactly what I'm talking about. And those that don't want to will not. Okay, I'm going back to the chat now because I don't even know what's been going on. So, if I'm on, if I'm off, or what the hell is going on. Let's see. Okay. Let me go back here and see what's going on. Let's see. What is this? Who is this person? When? Who the hell is, do you remember? Sassy? Yeah, that's one of them, Sassy. And everything. Oh, really? Really, do you remember? When have I been talking about Idaho 4 after Bryan had been found? Are you talking about in the early days of it? Like the early days when we didn't know who did this? Yeah, we thought about people that were close to her. Yeah, in the early days, yeah, we did. Where did we continue that, do you remember? Where did we continue that? Did we keep up with it after they had Bryan? Did we? No, we did not. You're a liar, do you remember? You're a flipping liar. Show me the proof. Show it to me. Show me my videos. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Pushing? What am I pushing? Nightbot throws the same links night after night, whether I'm talking about lemonade or anything. Do you remember? Have you got a little something stuck up your butt? Are you one of these? You probably watch those channels that I'm talking about, right? And so you're feeling that you shouldn't be doing that. So you're trying to attack me to make yourself look better. Okay? Aw, but am I hurting your fifis? Do you remember? I'm hurting your fifis. Aw, I'm sorry. Are your feelings getting hurt because I can see through you like a glass door? Yeah. I guess so. Right? You're not going to go toe-to-toe with me because you don't have the facts nor the receipts. And you wouldn't have to come in here with a profile you just made on December 23rd if you were secure in yourself and your facts. And you have neither. Neither. Can't show your face, can't put your name. You have nothing to bring to the table to go toe-to-toe with me. Okay? I'm way out of your league. What a jerk. What a jerk. Oh, yes, I'm sitting here talking to myself. Yep. Yep, sure, do you remember? Okay. What a jerk. Why don't you come up with your real name and your real face, okay? And we'll pull up the videos, okay? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. You show me one video, one. Especially after Bryan Kohberger was arrested, where I ever went back and said it was somebody else. Go ahead. Go ahead. Show me. Show me. Do you remember? Show me. Yeah, that's my real business name, Mommy Ramblings LLC. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Can't do it, do you remember? Because you're a coward and you're a fake. And you have no anything in your court to even back up what you've come in here and said, and you know it. You've lived with lies. Tell enough lies, people will believe them. That's your MO. Keep telling people things, lies. Go ahead. Where's your frickin' proof? Go ahead. Show me the videos. Go ahead. I'll wait. Come on up here. Send me an email. Come up here with your name and your face. You have nothing. You have nothing. The comments, somebody came in and got rid of them. Because they're a liar, is what it is, twisting. They're a liar that has no integrity, no truth, no receipts, no nothing. They spread lies, and they're probably the very people that Mrs. Gonsalves is talking to. And that Mrs. Gonsalves is saying, stop. And so, like I just told you, when somebody's trying to stop their show, stop their creator or their episodes from being, they don't want anybody to do that, so they come into anybody that's saying, there's no more to be written about this. They've got the right guy in prison. Then they come and try to gaslight everyone. They try to convince everyone that the person that's telling you the truth is lying to you. That's what it's about. Hi, Linda Uribe. How are you? Hey, Native Libra, how are you? Happy New Year. Thanks for the thumbs up. Happy New Year, Linda Uribe. Hope you're having a good one. Hello, Two Scooter. Yeah, you have to understand, if they had something, they wouldn't be afraid to say it, show it, prove it. when a crime breaks and people are trying to figure out who did something and there's no one that's been identified and there's no one that's been arrested, yeah, people will think along the lines of a lot of very prominent law enforcement that will tell you, FBI that will tell you, the first suspects are going to be the people closest, right? Just like the husband's killed, you've got to rule the wife out. Wife's killed, you have to rule the husband out. You have to rule out an affair and maybe that paramour being the person. It's the way it works. It doesn't mean that because you have to put a wife, a husband, a girlfriend, a boyfriend on a person of interest or a suspect list until they're cleared, that something, even Wendy Adelson, okay, who I believe does have guilt in this, okay, that she knew what was happening, but she even says, I know that me as the estranged wife, you have to clear me of this, that I'm going to naturally be a suspect. And it's so ridiculous that this person obviously watches me so closely that they're talking about something from 2022 when the Idaho case broke, and they brought it up now because I'm hitting too much truth. And maybe, as I've told you, the hate for me started with a Chris Watts fan club Facebook group. Well, they have Bryan Kohberger fan clubs. And this person's probably a member of both of them. And now, oh my gosh, anybody that comes forward, like Mrs. Gonsalves, or anybody that speaks that truth, they have to attack them. Get on with yourself, because you can't even stand up and really bring facts and debate with me. You can't even show your face. You know the hand that rocks the cradle when she says to her, when push comes to shove, you can't even breathe? I'll say, when push comes to shove, you can't even show your face and put your money where your mouth is. And come up here, and if you really had facts, sit with me and intelligently try to prove your point. But you know you can't. So you do it under a fake name, under a new profile, and with lies. Bravo. You just exposed yourself for who you are. Now get on and get the hell out of here, because we're way above your league here. We believe in facts. So let's see what's going on. Hi, little lady. So what's everybody else doing now? That's I feel bad for Mrs. Gonsalves, because we know, unfortunately, they're going to go on and go on and go on. Thank you very much, Jen. So what else? I put up a bunch of videos from the city. I have a bunch more. I told you my family, I've got 3 of them leaving on a plane very soon. Have Roman here. What else? What else? What else? Okay, hi. My eye's gotten a little better. It's just red right here now. I don't know what caused that. Doesn't hurt, thank goodness. hoping tonight it'll resolve itself tonight. I hope so. Yeah, we had a very nice family time. We had a really good time. Jimmy had a great time. We all had a great time. A lot of firsts for all of us. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Heart. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. No, it's not my contact, Jen. It's not. When it's my contact that I have like pain from it and everything, this is just like a bursted blood vessel or something like that. It's really weird. Just woke up with that. No pain, no sensitivity, nothing to light or anything. Just that red area. Very strange. I don't know. But yeah, and what else is going on? Tomorrow, yeah, it doesn't hurt or anything, Jen. It really doesn't. The only time I see it is I'm looking and I can see it if I look in the mirror or if I look at my picture. Other than that, I wouldn't even know it's there. So what else? I have to call the doctor tomorrow about something else. I have to, Tuesday I've got to go and pick up Ethan, and then, oh, what else? Got, trying to think of what else. Tomorrow's Monday. I can't believe it. Luke goes back to school. Tomorrow is the 5th, right? Yes. Today was the 4th, the 5th, and we've got Roman this week, and they're all flying. So that always gives me a little anxiety till everybody's landed, right? Especially with the airspace. I thought you said try heat, but you said thank you, Heart, and I'm try heat for my eye, and then you're like, you're the best. Is it snowing there, Linda Uribe? We had snow. We came back from the city. We had snow on the way back. Gia said there was going to be when we went down, and I was like, oh, stop. And then there was on the way back. Your daughter goes back on the 19th? Yeah. Try heat. I'm like, heat on my eye? I don't want to put heat on my eye. But, yeah, it's supposed, Jimmy said we're supposed to have a heat wave this week. It's supposed to reach like 37. Hee. Right now it's like 20, I think it says. 20. It's very cold, Linda. Yeah, it's very cold here too. I'm ready for spring. I really am. That's enough. Winter's had its, you know what? Winter's had its day right now. Let's go. Let's go for spring. But January's almost over. That's the only month I love to push that through. January and February, I like to push them through. Cold AF, yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm starting to get hungry and I don't even know what the freak. You were a high of 36? Cold there too, high? Yeah. And hi, what happened with, there was something in Colorado, right? A bunch of people got killed or something with the, ouch. I am hungry. What am I gonna eat? Do we discuss the Swiss nightclub fire? Not really that much, super chat. Unreasonably hot? Really? In Colorado? No snow. Did you hear that Mickey Rourke? Mickey Rourke has a GoFundMe. Did anybody hear about that? Something about falling behind in something and might lose his house or something? Is that what's, has anybody heard about Mickey Rourke? Did anybody? Anybody, anywhere? Well, I'll tell you about it. He's already raised $47,610. Right here of 100K. And I thought maybe they changed the goal because I thought it was 60K he was looking for. And whoever is Laya Joelle Jones is the organizer, right? Mickey Rourke entered American cinema like a force of nature. In the late 70s and 80s, he wasn't just a movie star, he was a symbol of something rare. From Diner to Rumblefish to 9.5 Weeks, Mickey gave audiences performances that felt lived in, not performed. And he left a permanent mark on American film and culture. Mickey's life never followed a safe or protected path. And it says, okay, we're just going to skip ahead here. Today, Mickey is facing a very real and urgent situation. The threat of eviction from his home. The fundraiser is being created with Mickey's full permission to help cover immediate housing-related expenses and prevent that from happening. Mickey Rourke is an icon, but his trajectory, as painful as it is a deeply human one. It's the story of someone who gave everything to his work, took real risks, and paid real costs. It doesn't say what happened to get him to this place, because really, what is it? What is it that brought him here where he is right now? Is it a lack of work? Is it something else? What remains is a person who deserves dignity, housing, and the chance to regain his footing. Give him stability and peace of mind. so he can stay in his home and have the space to get back on his feet. But if it is, let's just say, and I don't know, but if he is where he is because of some kind of an issue where money could be going to something else, and he hasn't resolved that issue or dealt with that issue, isn't that just like they tried to take this Nickelodeon star and put him in this hotel room, and they thought it was going to be all great and wonderful and great, and what happened? Not the same. Like, why? What's the reason? No, Jen, because it's not that he lost his home. It says eviction. He's fallen behind. It also doesn't tell us that he was denied roll. Like, I just, does anybody, I don't know. We had heavy rain first, lower part of the mountains, and terrible mountain slides. Mickey needs a job, like the rest of us peasants. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's something like, what are they telling us? Like, I just don't know. Like, what has he tried to do? They're not even saying, like, Mickey tried out for 500 parts and he was denied every one of them. He's been blackballed in Hollywood, or they're not telling us that, right? So they're not telling us that someone, that he was involved with someone and they swindled him out of the money. We're not hearing how he's in this predicament, right? So I think, I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't think she says anything about, at the height of his success, he stepped away from Hollywood in search of truth and authenticity, choosing risk over comfort. Boxing, real and punishing, left lasting physical and emotional scars in the industry that once celebrated. Okay, so here's something. Okay, he stepped away from Hollywood. He went in search of truth and authenticity. He chose to go into boxing. That boxing left lasting physical and emotional scars, and the industry that once celebrated him moved on. So it makes it sound like he stepped away from Hollywood. He said Hollywood was not true or authentic. Who would have thought? I'm going to go into boxing. Went into boxing. I don't know how long he was in boxing. Was he doing well in boxing? Didn't work out for him. They originally wanted him there, and then they didn't. What period of time elapsed, we don't know. What followed were years of struggle, not defined by spectacle but by survival, health challenges, financial strain, and the quiet toll of being left behind. Okay? Not defined by spectacle but by survival. Health challenges, financial strain. Well, obviously there would be a financial strain if you're not working, right? And the quiet toll of being left behind. Today he is facing a real, very real and urgent situation. The threat of eviction from his home. Okay, but here's the other thing. What is he doing as he's going to get onto his feet, right? So where is this home? Is it even sustainable at this point if he's not working? What's he going to do? So when the money's raised and he's out of danger of being evicted, what's the plan? Right? Is he going to go back into acting? Is he going to, what's he going to do? Because if he has a mortgage and he fell behind, it could be $10,000 a month. It could be $15,000 a month. What's he going to do? What's the plan, right? I'm going to see what they're saying about this. Let me see what the consensus is out there. The goal is simple, to give Mickey stability and peace of mind so he can stay in his home and have the space to get back on his feet. So he's got a lot of fans giving him money, even a lot of fans that don't have money. Someone says, just 7 years ago, I was on public assistance and trying to live off a mere $264 per month from the VA. Public housing, food stamps, CBT for food, and then that $264 scrap each month. I had lost everything waiting for the VA to complete my full disability claim, my job, my truck, my car, even my family. I know what it's like to lose everything and have nothing. You truly feel hopeless, but I have always clung to the phrase that when you reach rock bottom, the only place to go is up, and now I am able to share this. It isn't much. My income is just the 100% VA disability now, but I can afford to let it go to someone else that is going through what I went through. But I don't even know that he has disability to come in to help him after this. They're not mentioning any of that, which is what I'm saying. What is he going to do to sustain, and how much does he owe? They haven't come and said how much he actually owes to stop this eviction and what's the plan going forward, right? And I haven't read anyone's, what they're saying about it. He's 73 years old. And what do they say about it? Let me see. See, he has a notice to pay $59,100 in back rent. Back rent? So this is rent. He doesn't even own the home. This is rent, according to this article. He allegedly owes his landlord nearly $60,000 in past due rent on his LA home. So how is he going to take care of the current rents? What was the amount of rent? Okay, it says here, per the filing, Rourke started leasing the property in March of 2025, with the monthly rent initially starting at $5,200 and was later increased to $7,000 a month. $7,000 a month. So it said that the GoFundMe was requesting $59,100 that he allegedly owes in past due rent, as well as compensation for attorney fees. He's also asking for the forfeiture of their rental agreement. According to the property's listing on Zillow, the nearly 1,600 square foot home includes 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. Spanish bungalow. So he only started renting this in March of 2025. It's not even a year. It's went from $5,200 to $7,000 a month. He apparently was on Big Brother. I don't know. So somebody said, let's get this straight. He earned millions. He owes 60 grand. Asking for 100 grand. You all, this is a prank. AI scam. Why are they renting spaces they cannot afford? Why do these people believe they're entitled to exploit another just because? If he couldn't pay $5,000, how was he going to afford $7,000? $7,000 a month for a 1,600-foot house? What a ripoff. Someone said, blew all his money on plastic surgery. Go ask your plastic surgeons to refund for those botched surgeries. I don't know. I don't understand any of it, and I don't understand how he's going to continue to live in the house for $7,000 a month when they're basically saying here he has no income. So what is this going to do for him? It'll pay his back taxes, but then he has to pay $7,000 a month to live there. And if he just rented this in March of 2025, did he pay anything? Because what is that, 10 months? That's almost everything. So something's not making any sense. Now, I just came across an article. It's so strange. From exactly 2 years ago, January 4th, 2024. January 4th, 2024. Isn't that funny? Sometimes it comes on like you look at something and then something else is around this exact same time. But it said that actor Mickey Rourke was backing a fund to rebuild homes somewhere. That was 2 years ago. And apparently in April, okay, so it looks like he rented this home based on being hired by Big Brother in April of 2025. He rented this house in March, but then what happened? It says Mickey Rourke ashamed after celebrity Big Brother exit. So let's see what happened to him on Big Brother, because it sounds like he rented this home based on that, right? Because he left April 12th. He rented this home March of that year. He leaves after unacceptable behavior. Hollywood actor Mickey Rourke. Hold on a second. Stupid thing is in my way. Get out of here. You bother me here. Hold on a minute. Okay, here we go. He planned to sue Big Brother too, it said. He wants to sue celebrity Big Brother bosses following his removal from the UK version of the reality TV series. His 6-day stint on the show came to an abrupt end. His behavior during a heated verbal altercation with fellow housemate and Love Island star Chris Hughes was deemed unacceptable. The decision was made for Rourke to have his appearance on the series cut short because he did not adhere to the rules set out before entering the house. But the 72-year-old actor is now said to be exploring legal action. Now, this was 8 months ago. He is eyeing a lawsuit against ITV, the studio behind celebrity Big Brother, for being unjustly denied a major payday. The actor was rumored to be receiving a fee of £500,000 for making his appearance, making him the highest paid CBB contestant on this year's show. But he is now expected to walk away with £50,000 as his earnings were drastically reduced after his early exit from the series. It is claimed that producers purposely booted him out one day before he would have contractually entitled to receive a larger pay packet. The reduction of Rourke's six-figure sum isn't the only gripe. Let's see. He said he and his team were promised 5-star accommodations in London before entering the celebrity Big Brother house, but producers only informed them after they made reservations at a luxury location that the top end of the budget to cover hotel rooms was $300 per night. This clarification, listen to this one, allegedly left Rourke with a $50,000 bill to pay, which means almost all of his appearance fee would be swallowed up in settling the costs of their stay. So he was already down $50,000 in hotel rooms. Wow. Rourke's argument with Hughes was not the only controversy. The actor previously came under fire for homophobic remarks he made towards Dance Mom star JoJo Siwa. The incident led to a formal warning from the show's production team, but he later went on to use inappropriate sexual language when speaking to a housemate, Ella Ray Wise. A statement released by ITV on April 12th confirmed that Rourke and the showrunners had agreed to part ways. Mickey has agreed to leave the celebrity Big Brother house this evening following a discussion with Big Brother regarding further use of inappropriate language and instances of unacceptable behavior. Okay. So he had major things. So, okay. So he rented that other house in March, but obviously he was in London. So why was he renting a house in LA when he was working in London? None of this makes sense. None of it. Absolutely none. Hold on. Is it making sense to anybody? Looks like he paid no rent and he had bad facelifts and face harmed in boxing, and he was fired from Big Brother. He acts more like a rock star than an actor, but it doesn't make sense. He was living in London. They were supposed to be paying for hotels, but he didn't check, and apparently accrued $50,000 of hotel cost above and beyond what they were paying, and didn't realize this. I don't know. There's this. Why, when he was evicted from the Big Brother house, then why did he keep this other house when he knew he had no means? He was trying to secure a lawsuit. What was he going to pay the lawyers with? I don't know. I don't know. Even if he had a lawyer take on a contingency, they haven't said that, but they have to act like there's nothing the lawyers did, and then he clearly breached his contract because they told him about the inappropriate language. I don't know. I don't know, little lady. But I do know that I think we just do the word cookies and I'm going to go to bed. He screwed himself and made bad decisions. Yeah. Sad. You don't want to see anybody down on their luck, but it's like, what's going to happen though now? What's the plan? Right? I don't know. Oh yes, Lou Jen. Yep. Huh. What else is here? Lewis? Oh, gig, yeah. That's good. Gels. Here. Oh, we got it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Thank you guys very much. And hit the likes, all of you watching. And those of you that are lurking. Hi, Amy. You're at the end, girl. Where have you been? Where have you been? You're at the end. We covered a lot tonight. A lot. Where have you been? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yeah, we're done for tonight. I've got to go to bed and hopefully I'll recoup. I'm worn out yesterday, but I listened. I felt good that Gia told me she was sore, and I'm like, okay, because she's one of the youngest besides Luke and Ethan. And then Luke was telling me his freaking hip hurt him or whatever. So I'm like, okay, then I don't feel so freaking bad, okay? But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night. Thank you. And probably get back in a little bit of the swing and the things. I don't know. All right? Be good, everybody. Hit the likes. See you tomorrow. Probably have a movie night this week for members or Patreons, maybe tomorrow or something. But be good. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know how to get out of here. I got to figure out where this ends. Where does it all end? Let's see.